Hello, and welcome to Efficiency First, Managing the Complexity of a Multi-SaaS Environment. I hope you're all having a great time at Altitude and found value in the sessions you've attended so far. I know the format's a little bit different this year, and I would have loved to meet you all face-to-face, but I'm still excited to have the same conversation virtually. My name's Richard. I'm on the product management team here at BetterCloud, and this is actually my fourth Altitude. Somehow they just keep getting better. Like many of you, I've seen the BetterCloud platform grow tremendously over the past few years, and during this session, we're going to deep dive into some of the most recent evolutions. Today, we're going to talk about managing the complexity of a multi-SaaS environment. Many of the Altitude sessions touch on the rapid growth of software as a service, or SaaS, and I'm sure it'll come as no surprise to any of you that managing this many SaaS apps at scale is a challenge. If left untamed, SaaS apps can become a point of friction for your users and your business. But we're going to talk about how to turn the tides and get the most out of this new best-in-breed SaaS world we're living in to give you and your business a leg up on the competition. Many of the practices and principles we'll talk about are universal, but since this is a product session, we're going to deep dive into how BetterCloud can help with two main areas. First, we're going to talk about BetterCloud integrations, including which apps to integrate and why. Then we're going to walk through how to begin managing and securing these applications using workflows. For those of you that attended the keynotes over the last few days, one of the key takeaways was that we have aligned our product strategy to address key trends and ensure we're solving the biggest challenges for IT and security. All of these challenges relate to managing the complexity of a multi-SaaS environment. That investment has been focused around three core themes. First, discovering the apps that are in use. We want to shine a light on the undetected threats lurking in your environment to put you back in the driver's seat. Increased support for your most commonly used apps, from tools to people and processes. Every company is a little bit different. We want to ensure that we can help you maximize the management and security benefits you're getting from BetterCloud by expanding our catalog to more systems than ever. And finally, streamline management through automation. The integrations themselves are only as strong as the monitoring and remediation that backs them. The result is the first all-in-one SaaS ops platform. We listened to our users, we listened to all of you, and heard story after story about the challenges of managing a complex SaaS environment. With every story, there were unique applications or unique processes, but they all pointed back to three main questions. First, what applications are in use in my environment? Second, once I know which apps are in use, how can I ensure the right users have access to the right tools without staggering licensing costs or over-delegated access? Regardless of where a user is in their life cycle with the company, whether it's their first day or their last, I want to make sure that they have what they need to be productive, but at the same time, that we're not putting our company in a compromising position. And that leads us to the third question. With so much data spread across so many platforms, how can I possibly audit and enforce who has access to it all? SaaS discovery, SaaS management, and SaaS security. They're the primary sources of complexity for SaaS operations, and that's why we've built a platform to address these core pillars. Many of you are familiar with the management and security capabilities within BetterCloud. We're going to continue investing in them, but to complement them, this week we announced the launch of BetterCloud Discover. The first step in managing a growing multi-SaaS environment is understanding which apps are in use. Without the right controls, users can easily purchase tools for their teams, unbeknownst to IT and security. How many of you have heard through word of mouth that a tool has been deployed in your environment? We've all worked so hard on procurement and security processes to protect our data, but somehow, in the end, users always find a way. For any fellow Jurassic Park nerds out there, life finds a way. BetterCloud can help. If you're interested in learning more about BetterCloud Discover, please reach out to your customer success manager. They'll have all the information that you could possibly want. Getting the most from integrations. So let's actually jump into the product and start talking about how to maximize the value you're getting from integrations. Regardless of whether or not you decide to check out BetterCloud Discover, integrating the apps you know about into BetterCloud is the first step in gaining control of that complexity and centralizing SaaS operations. To help you, we're going to continue going deeper and into more applications, especially the ones that you use most. Not too long ago, we only had a handful of integrations. Then at Altitude last year, we announced 32 more, including Zoom, OneLogin, DocuSign, and many others. Now we're up to over 65 and counting, and you even heard in the keynote about our upcoming deep integrations with Azure AD to bring identity data into BetterCloud, Workday to help unite HR and IT with automated user lifecycle management, and Google Shared Drives to ensure all of your G Suite files are secure. We're adding new integrations every month, and they're always posted in our release notes. Those release notes can be found on the website, bettercloud.com, or even in the application on the main dashboard. The more integrations you connect to BetterCloud, the more you're able to centralize the management and security of your multi-SaaS environment. However, we recognize that even with all these integrations, even as we continue to build and release more, there may still be times when you don't see the exact integration you need. After all, every organization has its unique needs. Many of you have even gone as far as to build some of your own tools for things like user lifecycle management or compliance. We can integrate with those too. For those of you that were with us in San Francisco last year at Altitude, you may remember the launch of custom integrations. Over the past year, we've seen many great examples built by all of you, several of which became fully supported action-enabled integrations in the Integration Center. A few noteworthy examples include forwarding audit logs to Sumo Logic for advanced log aggregation or analysis, provisioning licenses in Lucidchart to help take control of licensing costs, or even creating incidents in ServiceNow to ensure BetterCloud automations are tracked in the same system of record as everything else for your organization. All of these use cases were possible with custom actions. We recognize, though, that actions are only one piece of the puzzle. We released custom actions at Altitude, but we've heard from all of you that the ability to trigger workflows from other systems is just as critical. We're committed to the continued release of more native workflow triggers, but for the first time, we're opening up that capability to all of you and the BetterCloud community. I'm happy to announce the Custom Workflows Triggers beta program coming soon. From HR systems to ticketing solutions, we're beyond excited to see what comes of the program. And much like custom actions, if you don't feel confident building custom integrations on your own, that's completely okay. Our expert advisory group will be here to help you every step of the way. And as a teaser of what's yet to come, we're already planning custom workflow conditions for next year. With this new capability, you will no longer be limited to the triggers pre-built by BetterCloud. So let's dive back into the product for a preview of what it will take to build custom workflow triggers. It may get a little technical, but I promise it'll only be for a minute or two, so hang in there. We're going to walk through building a custom workflow trigger. Many of you may already be familiar with this view from building custom actions. We're going to start at the same extensions menu, only now there will be a new extension type for creating a custom workflow trigger. So once we get in here, we're going to give it a name and we'll give it a description. This is going to ultimately drive how it's represented and visualized in workflows. One of the things that was really important to us as we were thinking through how to build custom workflow triggers was we wanted to make sure they have the same look and feel as all of the native triggers you're used to. That way, the person who builds the trigger doesn't have to necessarily be the one who's using it. It enables less technical users to take advantage of these custom workflow triggers, even if they don't necessarily know how they're working behind the scenes. So for this example, we're going to use Jira Service Desk. Say we have a process that we've built out in there for offboarding, and we want to trigger a workflow whenever a Jira Service Desk ticket reaches a certain status or receives a certain approval. So BetterCloud is basically providing an API that you can use to trigger a workflow from a webhook. So we'll take this URL for the given trigger and ultimately configure a webhook in Jira Service Desk as part of our process to trigger that BetterCloud workflow. So at this point, we'd log into Jira Service Desk, we would look at our process, and we would use the tooling built in there to configure that webhook. Once you've got your desired system set up to send that trigger to BetterCloud, you can run a test. And the results of this test are what will ultimately define the data model for your workflow trigger. And during this test, you can actually leave and come back if you need to. Ultimately, you'll get a success message once BetterCloud receives the first event from your connected application. Then you have the ability to rename your parameters and select which ones you want to appear in workflows. We'll see what that looks like in the workflows interface in a minute. But in the case of a Jira Service Desk ticket, that webhook might include some relevant information for offboarding, such as a user email, their ID, their status, or anything else. So here's what it ultimately looks like in workflows. You can see my custom workflow trigger has the same look and feel as all of the native triggers. Again, the goal here is to ensure that less technical users can take advantage of these triggers, even if they don't necessarily know how all the plumbing works behind the scenes. Earlier, we selected which data points we want to expose as dynamic fields. Here's an example of how we can use that data that's sent over as part of a custom trigger in later steps of the workflow. In this case, we've received a custom user offboarding approved trigger from Jira Service Desk that included a few attributes, namely the user's email. Then we're going to take that email and use BetterCloud's built-in Zoom integration to unassign all of the phone numbers associated with it. That will allow us to put those phone numbers back into our pool and use them for other employees. Hopefully the gears are starting to turn and you're starting to see how managing a multi-SaaS environment becomes much simpler with BetterCloud. Now you're able to leverage the context from a custom application, in this case Jira Service Desk, to manage another application like Zoom or many others using workflows. So in terms of getting the most from integrations, there are 3 key points. First, we've got to discover what's in use. At the end of the day, it's really hard to manage or secure what you can't see. Check out BetterCloud Discover. We're beyond excited to bring this capability into the platform, and we're really excited to partner with you on shining a light on Shadow IT. Next, connect your applications to BetterCloud. Centralizing everything in one place is the first step to simplifying your SaaS operations. And finally, check out custom integrations if you haven't already. They open so many possibilities, and with custom workflow triggers on the horizon, it's only going to open up even more. So we've got our applications connected. Now let's talk about managing workflows for secure automation and scale. Some of you may have decided to dip your toes in with 2 or 3 integrations. Others of you may have dove headfirst into the deep end with many, many more. Either way, getting started managing and securing those applications at scale is a lot easier than you might expect. After you've connected your apps, we're going to start checking out workflow templates. These are going to provide templated best practices around how to get up and running quickly. From user lifecycle management to security, there are a wide variety of templates available, and just like integrations, we're regularly publishing new templates on a monthly basis. You can follow our release notes to see which new ones are becoming available and when. You may be picking up on a theme. We release a lot of cool stuff, so I'm going to keep plugging the release notes. So let's start off by building our first workflow. We'll focus on offboarding, since it's one of the most complicated challenges with a multi-SaaS environment. And when you think about your offboarding process, I would imagine a lot of you have a checklist that's very, very long. The goal of this session is to show you how to take some of the load off your shoulders and give it back to you on your calendar in the form of time for more strategic projects. So think about your checklist for offboarding. Which tasks do you catch yourself doing time and time again? As we walk through the process of creating a template, the gears are going to start to turn, and you may just catch a glimpse of a brighter, more automated future. So we're sticking with offboarding. That was the use case that we talked about in custom triggers. So once you get into the template, based on the integrations you have connected, it's going to automatically recommend best practices for offboarding. And it's going to show you a wide variety of actions. It'll show you standard offboarding related actions that may be on your checklist, such as disabling a user or resetting their password. But where things start to get really powerful is when it shows you all of BetterCloud's advanced offboarding actions. Some examples include the unassigned phone number use case we talked about earlier, reclaiming licenses to get a control of SaaS spend, and even wiping company data from the user's device. All of these and more are available across a wide variety of integrations, all from a centralized SaaS ops platform. So once you've selected your offboarding actions, it will give you the option to automatically trigger this workflow. So think about what signifies the need for an offboarding in your organization. Is it a user added to an offboarding group? Are they disabled in your identity source, such as Okta or OneLogin or maybe G Suite? BetterCloud has a library of pre-built triggers, but as we discussed with custom workflow triggers, soon you'll be able to build your own with just a little bit of technical chops. Next, what does your typical offboarding process look like? It's probably different based on a user's department or their team. You can run through this template as many times as you want. Build a workflow for offboarding your sales team. Build a different one for your marketing team and your engineering team. You can also start to check out other user management templates for use cases like onboarding or rehiring if you've gone through a furlough recently. We've even got security-based templates for managing email forwarding or for things like guest users. After you've selected your desired actions and triggers, you'll receive a workflow that's been automatically pre-populated with the steps that you outlined. Templates are the fastest way to start getting value from BetterCloud. All that's left is to fill out a few missing details related to your offboarding actions. These details will be clearly outlined, and in most cases, it won't take more than a few minutes. This mainly comes up when you have multiple instances of the same integration. For example, if you have multiple Slacks, or some of you may be managing multiple Dropbox instances, our platform is going to bring them all together in one place and give you an easy way to set rules around things like offboarding. Then all that's left, as I said, is to run through this process as many times as you want for as many different workflows as you want. So managing SaaS operations across a wide variety of tools is complicated. We've heard your stories, we feel your pain, and we're here to help. Thank you for the chance to have this conversation. We've spent years building this platform, and if I seem excited, it's because we see the problems it solves day in and day out. I'll leave you with a few final steps you can take to ensure you're getting the most out of BetterCloud's SaaS Ops platform. First, check out BetterCloud Discover. I can't say it enough. We've been hard at work building this new tool, and the feedback from all of you has been unbelievably positive. Together, we'll shine a light on shadow IT and simplify SaaS security. Next, check out the Integration Center for recent integrations. We've released dozens over the past year, and new integrations are coming out almost monthly. I'll use this as one last chance to plug our release notes. They're right in the platform, on the dashboard. They're on our website. You can subscribe to them. Don't miss out on all of the new capabilities coming out in BetterCloud. Third, connect any missing integrations. If there's one thing you take away, the more you connect, the more you can automate. From onboarding to offboarding to security, many of you have really long checklists being handled manually today. Think about those checklists. We want to automate those processes and put time back on your calendar for you to focus on more strategic initiatives. And finally, I'd be remiss if, as a product manager, I did not plug our feature request portal. It's features.bettercloud.com. Which integrations do you want to see next? What pain point do you want them to solve? Should we evolve some of our current integrations to cover new use cases? The feedback that you all provide in there directly impacts our roadmap. Many of the things talked about in this session, and frankly in many others, were a direct result of that portal. From Workday to Azure AD to Google Shared Drives, we've heard you and we're going to continue listening to you to ensure our SaaS Ops platform is the absolute best that it can be. So thank you all again for your time. I'm honored by the chance to share these enhancements with you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all at future sessions and future Altitude.